beloveds, and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms. We want to thank every single person that has subscribed to both the Dr. Mumbi Show and Dr. Mumbi Live. We are revamping Dr. Mumbi Show, upgrading. But you can catch all the news here on Dr. Mumbi Live. There's a lot that's been happening. Maybe we'll actually do a story time on it, just on 2020 and being a truther. There's a very interesting story that was shared with me. I really want to thank everyone that shares these stories with me. You can always email me, drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Go ahead and check out our new website, www.drmumbishow.com. We're going to be putting a lot more on there. We're just getting it up to speed right now, uploading our over 1,000 something videos on different African countries, because it's going to be important to be able to look at different countries and know the patterns of what has been happening. Now, this is something I have discussed. I think I've been discussing this for the last 2 years, but a recent report came out that shows that the U.S. special operations are secretly active in almost half of Africa. And, they're extremely tight-lipped about exactly what their elite forces do in each country. But special operators have long conducted missions that range from capture or kill commando raids to training missions. And this is something that we've been talking about for a while. Now, I told you guys about 2 weeks ago about AFRICOM and how AFRICOM was the headquarters. It's the Africa Command of the military, U.S. military, etc. It's been housed in Germany after African presidents refused to house it in different African countries. But that has not prevented the U.S. the divided states from building military bases in at least 22 African countries. So this report, and I'll definitely attach it. It actually appeared in the South African, an African publication talking about this stuff. And they said that U.S. Special Operation Forces, SOF, including Navy SEALs, Army Green Berets, and Marine Corps Raiders, are active in 22 nations, making the continent its second largest military footprint after the Middle East. And that's according to a new report that was done by the Mail and Guardian. They did an investigation, and it showed that although U.S. commandos operate on the African continent with the agreement of our puppet freaking presidents, with the agreement of governments, ordinary Africans are rarely told about the full extent of U.S. activities, nor offered a say in how and why Americans are active in their countries. Let that sink in. You see why it's critical? Because now with the matrix falling, and everyone's been saying, the Armageddon, the war of all wars is going to happen on the African continent, just cursing us left, right, and center. But when you see that the U.S. military, they're in 22 countries. Let me just read them out and see if your country is there. They're in Algeria, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, Djibouti, Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Libya, Madagascar, Mali, Mauritania, Nigeria, Senegal, Somalia, Tanzania. Yo, you guys have U.S. military forces and he is becoming the new Mugabe. Magufuli's out there. You guys are, no, I think what? And Tunisia. No surprise that they're in Kenya. I mean, we even have the British Army, although massive numbers of the British Army have left. I started talking about this a couple of years ago. Many, many British Army have left, and you can even see it in the town where they are, where there's so many houses that are now up for rent, etc., because it's literally like half of them left. This epidemic, things are never going to be the same. But back to the divided states. So this study, which was done by the Mail and Guardian, I'm assuming the Mail and Guardian is some kind of British publication. Correct me if I'm wrong. They said that under the radar deployments of US soldiers to Africa were as prominent as ever. And remember last year, Trump was even talking about how he's going to pull US forces from Africa. And many of you actually were like, no, there's no way they can do that. They're probably, doing the exact opposite, bringing more U.S. forces into Africa. And so this guy, Donald Baldock, he's a retired brigadier general and head of the Special Operations Command Africa, SOC Africa, until 1917. He said, as of 2017, the U.S. operations forces had seen combat in 13 African countries, and America's most elite troops continue to be active in 10 of those countries. Guess what? Kenya's on that list. I swear. I swear. And the 10 where they're still active, literally in like military combat: Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Kenya, Libya, Mali, Mauritania. Mali, they just took out the prime. Remember, the army just literally made the president and the prime minister and his entire government resign. Many are seeing a French hand, or at least a foreign hand, in that whole process. And so this guy says, with boots on the ground in almost half of Africa's 54 nation states, the continent accounts for over 14% of US commandos deployed overseas annually. This is a problem. This is a problem. Whoa. And the article, I mean, it just gets worse. It says, much of the world, for example, first became aware of US military operations in Africa in October 2017, when IS, and there's been a lot of evidence that shows these jihad organizations actually could be allegedly funded or actually be run by a lot of these special operations of the world. So they come and, they've written the books. Confessions of an Economic Hitman talks about this very thing. They try A. If A fails, they try B. If B fails, they take you out. And they say they actually didn't know, many people didn't even know that the US military was on the ground until 2017, when IS ambushed American troops near Tongo Tongo in Niger, and 4 US soldiers were killed. And that's when people were like, what? And 2 of them were actually Green Berets, and those troops belonged to Operation Detachment Alpha Team 312, an 11-man unit working with the Nigerian force under the umbrella of Juniper Shield. And the sad thing is, because a lot of our African American brothers and sisters have actually, well, let me even just say brothers, actually joined the army for whatever reason, to pay for college, to do this, to do that. They're the ones that are now being sent into Africa. And remember when I did a story about a year ago where I was telling you that the US Army is now recruiting different linguists, and you'd be fast tracked to get citizenship, etc., etc.? People were thinking they were going to go to the US and the US would somehow be spying on. What if those were to be operating within our countries, within our borders? My phone was actually tapped, beloveds. If you'd like to know if your phone is tapped, hit me up with a message. I'll send you the code. Until next time, tuko pamoja.